Hello guys, and welcome to another episode of Serenity Valley. This is episode 31, and today we're going to be using our new Amazon AR sprayer behind our Eustace tractor to spray and fertilize our grass fields. So if we take a look here at our grass fields, you'll see that they need some fertilization. We're going to fertilize field 35, 17, 9, and 32 today. So we'll see how far we can get in the time we have allotted. But we're just going to just take a quick look around first and do an inspection of our sprayer. This is the first time out after we've bought it, so we just want to make sure all the everything's correct and everything is there's no leaks, and just generally that we've made sure that we've basically unwrapped the packaging, if you will, freed up the arms so that they're not going to be bound up if we go and unfold this. So everything looks in order. So let's just go ahead and jump on in our tractor here and unfold this wonderful AR sprayer. Let's go ahead and unfold here and take a look at the animations. So the benefit to this sprayer is that it holds 20,000 liters of liquid fertilizer. Our New Holland self-propelled sprayer only had about 6,800 liters of fertilizer, I believe. So this is a significant capacity upgrade. Let's go ahead and fire this up, and let's get this rocking and rolling. So we're going to do one pass, and then I am going to turn on GPS just so that we can have nice straight lines. You see the spray animations here. And we picked our Eustace Pharmer here because this particular tractor has really wide tires. So we're just going to, we're basically trying to reduce our footprint on the grass. We don't want to use narrow tires because that will basically put more weight on a smaller footprint with respect to our grass. Had we been doing crops, then narrow tires would be ideal because we would be going through between the rows. But on grass, we want to kind of have a soft footprint. And the only way to have a soft footprint is to widen out our contact surface with the ground. And the only way to do that is to go with really wide tires or go with duals. So I felt it was a bit excessive to bring out our Massey Ferguson with the duals connected. And it's definitely excess to bring out the Kloss with its duals. So we're just going to use this one. So I said we're going to spin around here, try not to hit that light pole. And we're going to get lined up for another pass and get our GPS turned up. Oops. And when we get to the other end, we're going to do a little headland on this side and on that side, because that will just make these turns a heck of a lot easier. Alright. So we're going to go ahead and turn on GPS. Alright, so let's go ahead and get this locked in and fire up our sprayer and let's get going. Alright, so we got our sprayer running. So this also sprays at a faster rate than our other sprayer. So we should be able to make a lot faster work of this field. Alright, so when we get to the end, we're going to do a headland, and then when we get to the other end, we're going to do a little headland, and that'll allow us to make our turns a bit easier. So we've also got, we've staged up some equipment. We've got our Kloss down here with our big plow, because we're also going to need to plow up these 2 fields that we managed to miss last spring. So they will be ready to go in the next spring. And off camera, we went ahead and finished our canola harvest. So that we no longer have, so we basically have harvested all of our canola now at this point. We've moved our 2 harvesters over to 2 of our soybean fields. And we will begin to harvest soybeans next game day, probably. They are not quite ready to harvest yet. So guys, we are at episode 31, and all along we've been talking about running to 50 episodes. So I've done some math and figured out that based on our current release schedule, we should run up to episode 50 around August, around the 1st of August. So we have about 6 weeks to go on the series. And to that end, I'm starting to think about what's going to replace Serenity Valley here for our Monday, Wednesday, Friday play series. And I've got a couple of suggestions. Next Wednesday, we will be putting up Wednesday of next week. We will be not next week. Sorry, I'm recording this a week early. So it's Wednesday next week for me in real life. But when this airs, this will air Monday, June 19th. And basically on Wednesday, the episode that airs Wednesday, June 21st, I will be putting up a poll with 4 or 5 map suggestions. And I'm going to ask you guys to vote on which map you would like to see. And then I'm going to wait a week. And then on June 28th, I'm going to put a second poll up, which is basically going to be the top 3 maps that you voted for in the first poll. And basically, I want you then to vote for the map you would like to see in the play series based on those 3 maps. So I'm going to narrow it down to 3 from 5, and then ask you all to vote on those 3. And the winner will basically be the next map that we will play after we are done with Serenity Valley. We will probably be starting that, as I said, early in August. And I need that time, if that particular map is not seasons prepared, meaning it does not have a snow mask in place, I will need that time to basically put the snow mask in, because we will be doing seasons on that map. Not sure. I'm thinking I might bring seasons into this map once we hit early spring, and basically activate seasons at that point, because seasons will default all the grass down to stage 1, basically this stage here, where you can't cut it, it's too short. It will also basically set all the fields to harvested. So we won't be harvesting, or we won't be planting anything between now and spring. We can prepare our fields all we want. We can plow them, we can fertilize them as best I know, but we can't plant anything because seasons will just take that out. So that's what we're going to do. Is on Wednesday we will put up a poll. I will ask you all to vote on the map you prefer of the 5. I expect that there will not be an overwhelming winner, but if there is an overwhelming winner at that point, then we won't have a need for another vote. But I suspect that the votes will kind of be spread out a little bit. So I plan on the following week, the week of the 28th of Wednesday, the 28th, to put up another poll to basically narrow it down to 3. And let you all pick between those 3. So what are we going to do? How are we going to close this series out? So I don't want to give all the bags away. I don't want to give it all out. But what I do plan on doing is, that we will hopefully be using some smaller equipment on the next map. So I don't want to just reuse all the equipment that we've been using here. I want to deliberately pick some different equipment. Thinking the Coon DLC equipment would be good, and that would probably be the biggest equipment that we're going to use. I got my eye on some mods from the contest. Specifically, what I'm looking at is the Massey Pack for basically starting out. And what we will do is, when we're done here on Serenity Valley, I plan on basically transferring whatever funds we have in our bank over to the new map. We will not be selling our equipment. We will be turning all of our equipment over to our farm hands, and basically so they can continue to run the Serenity Valley farm and continue to increase the economy here on Serenity Valley. So we will not be taking equipment with us. We will not be selling the equipment. We'll not be selling animals. We will be basically allowing all that to continue. But we will be taking whatever money we have in the bank at the time. So we are also not selling off crops when we do this. We're going to keep those crops in the silos, because we're basically just turning management over to our farm workers when we're all said and done. Alright, so that is that field. So let's fold up our spray arms. Let's turn off our GPS, and let's drive on over to the next field. So we used about 1,700 liters of fertilizer on this field. So we should have plenty in our tank to actually fertilize all of the fields with just this one load. So you can see one of our harvesters are over here staged at this soybean field. Like I said, these beans are currently at the final growth stage. You can see we also turned traffic on. So now we have to deal with traffic. Thankfully, we don't have two trains running around the map. We do on Cherry Hills, but not here. All right. So we still have our pile of manure here that's spawning in the wrong spot. We're actually going to replace our conveyor belts that we have both here at the pig farm and at the cow farm for an interesting mod that goes on the front of the tractor, and basically will chew through that fertilizer, or not fertilizer, but that manure, and spew it into a trailer. So we're going to do that here in the next episode or so, and we are also going to we've got some beets to harvest. Plan on doing that the next game day also, but we're going to sell our beet harvester, the 440, and we're going to replace that with the 430. It's just a slightly smaller model. I think it will fit better on this map. The 430 or the 440 is really big and is a bit difficult to get in and out of some of these fields. So the 430 is a little shorter, a little smaller, obviously. So it's going to make it a little bit easier to get in and around some of these tighter fields, the fences and things. So we'll do that sell transaction on camera before we go and harvest our little sugar beet field. And that should be all the beets that we will ever need on this map. Now that we have our piggy pigs over here. We're up to 119 pigs already. If you recall, after we took them down to the slaughterhouse, if you will, we had 115 pigs. Alright, so we're going to do a headland here and make our way around the map before we start going back and forth. Notice this field has a rather interesting texture on it that I haven't seen on other fields. You see the lighter green there? Not really sure if that's... Now this field is a field that we planted grass. The other grass fields that we have on this map came already grass. So I'm wondering if this other texture is a kind of a derivative of us planting grass on this field versus it coming prepared with grass. Not really sure. Doesn't really matter. We still got quite the harvest of grass off of all of these fields. So I just recorded an interesting how-to video on how to make your own liquid fertilizer using a really cool fertilize mixing tank. If you all haven't seen it, I'm going to put a link in the. Hopefully, a link will pop up in the video. If not, just check my how-to series. But I'm interested to know what you all think of that mod. So if you haven't seen the video, please go ahead and take a look, and then come back and comment on what you think. That's a mod that I've already put on the mods list for whatever map we do next, because I really like the way it works, and basically the way that you mix the fertilizer yourself, as opposed to using a fabric script and a factory to produce liquid fertilizer. This, you buy bags of fertilizer mix concentrate, and you mix it in a special mixing tank with water to produce fertilizer. And the cost to do that is astronomically low compared to buying fertilizer, and it's fairly fast compared to basically waiting for a factory to produce fertilizer. You know, we have factories that take the first factory that I discovered that made liquid fertilizer took solid fertilizer and water and basically make liquid fertilizer out of that. But to get solid fertilizer, you had to take manure and liquid manure, and basically the factory would process that into solid fertilizer. So you really had two factories in order to get liquid fertilizer. Of course, we have our digestate factory here on this map that takes digestate and magically makes solid fertilizer out of it and fuel out of it, and then we use that solid fertilizer in our liquid fertilizer production facility. On Stevie maps, they've got the digestate plant that makes both liquid and solid fertilizer and fuel. So I really like this concept of basically the farmer is mixing his own fertilizer, because that's how I remember it when I was a kid. That's how I remember seeing it being done. So let's bring up our HUD so we can get this turned around. And let's slide this down so we can make best use of our time here. Alright, let's hide our HUD again. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, their lines went away. I don't know how to get them back. I'll have to figure that out. So I've also been thinking about maybe buying a field, and I've been thinking about maybe buying field 6 because we can join fields 2 and 6 together. And I've also looked at buying field 26, way down there by field number 13, because we can then join those two fields together. So, oh, I hired help. That's why I lost my lines. I hired help. And the only reason I knew I hired help is because all of a sudden he started to turn on his own. I knew I'd figure that out. So we might buy some fields before the series is over, simply because we're going to pay off our loan pretty quick. You can see we've got $244,000 up there right now. If we continue to sell our solid fertilizer and fuel, because we don't need solid fertilizer and fuel because we've got plenty. If we can't sell liquid fertilizer, but you know, we've got plenty of crops, so we can start selling some crops once we have favorable prices. So let's take a look at our price overlay, and we haven't had very favorable prices for quite a while. The only thing that's close to 100% is sugar. We could sell sugar at a really high price right now if we had any. But all of the crops that we have are pretty low. So we've got barley, but it's only 8% above average. We have wheat. Wheat is only 7% above average. Not that good. We have canola now. Canola is at its worst price since we've been playing the game, so obviously we don't want to sell that. We're going to have soybeans here soon. Again, soybeans are at our worst price ever playing the game, or playing this map. We will soon have corn. Corn's at a decent price, but we don't have it yet. We probably won't have corn for another 2 game days. We've got... let's see here, what else do we've got? We've got straw is at a pretty bad price. We've got wool. We're getting wool. That's at a pretty good price. It's at 94% of the best price. So we could sell some wool once we have enough pallets to make it worth it. Because when we do sell pallets, our prices are going to drop. So we don't want to sell too little wool. We have some strawberries, and we have some raspberries, but again, those prices are at 8% and minus 6% of the average, so we don't want to sell those. So a lot of the stuff that we want to sell is not really at the greatest of prices right now, so it would just behoove us to keep those items in stock as opposed to selling them. You see, this sprayer does a really good job moving at a pretty good clip. I think the New Holland self-propelled only moves at 6 miles an hour. When we get at the end of the row here, I'm going to pull up the store and just check. So let's wrong button. Let's check the store here for sprayers. So this New Holland has a working speed of 7 miles an hour. It has 36 meter working width. Our Coon is 7 miles an hour, 36 meters. Pretty much all of the in-game sprayers are 7 miles an hour. Let's look at, wrong one. So let's look at our sprayer here. So this sprayer has a working speed of 11 miles an hour and 24 meters. So it's a little narrower, but it works almost twice as fast and holds substantially more. So this holds 6,057. This holds 4,100, but we could marry it with this and get 1,500 more. This holds 1,300. This holds 4,600. and 1200 and 1000. So we have a faster working speed. We hold substantially more liquid, but we sacrifice a little bit on our working width. But I say that is made up for in not having to go back and forth and fill up our tanks. So overall, this is an awesome sprayer, and it was cheap compared to the others. By the time you just have to buy the trailer or a truck and this, and there you're good to go. So I think I've already asked this, but I'm going to ask it again in the comments. Please put down if there's any mods that were in the mod contest that you would like to see brought into this map, into this gameplay, and I will see if we can work it in. If you can manage to give me some storyline suggestions, that would be awesome on how we could work whatever you're suggesting into the mix. I'm really encouraged by all the great comments that we're getting, and by all the great subscriptions that have come in. I know a lot of them have come in as a result of the map videos that I did for the map contest, but I still appreciate every view and every comment that we get on these play series. I know I like to watch how other people play the game, and it gives me all kinds of interesting ideas. So hopefully I'm able to give you all some ideas on how you can enhance your own gameplay. And just kind of, keep from the boredom. I know sometimes this can get a bit boring, just repeating things after things after things. And that's where I think the Seasons mod is just going to be so awesome. And I really can't wait to see how the voting goes, to see what turns up as the the best mod in each category. Alright, so we've got these two fields done, and we're going to drive on over to our bigger field and see how much of that field we can get hammered out in the remaining time that we have. Let's go ahead and pull up our overlay and just check out our fertilization levels. So you see now we have maxed our fertilization on these three fields. So we are going to get our best possible grass harvest once our grass grows back. I am hoping we can get another grass harvest or hay harvest between now and winter. So we will have to see about that. And if we do bring in the Seasons mod, I am not going to add the snow mask because I do not want to risk messing up the save game. And I don't know if after you add the mask, if you technically should start a new game or not. You probably do, and I do not want to do that. So we will not be adding the snow mask to this map. And all that means is that our bales won't rot as a result of being left outside. If we baled up grass bales would not rot because we do not have a snow mask. I believe that is the case. But on the next play series we do, we will have a mask in place. If that's provided by the map author because he updated the map, or if we basically put one in ourselves. Either way, we're going to have one. Any traffic coming. This particular tractor doesn't have the greatest side views because of this door pillar. But had I had head tracking, then I think we could have peered around that door pillar. So we're coming up on 25 minutes. We'll have enough time to make one or two passes on this field. I will finish that fertilizing off camera. I just wanted to thank everyone for watching. If you like this video, please click the like button. It helps great with search results and recommended videos. Also, if you are not a subscriber and you've just stumbled upon this video and you like the map, you like the series, you're interested in following me, please click subscribe. We are coming up on 400 subscribers, and that is so cool, guys. That is so cool. Encourage you to check out one of the best farming communities in the internet, and that is PCSG. If you haven't joined there, I encourage you to do so. They're a great bunch of people. They have organized multiplayer servers where on Friday and Saturday there are multiple streamers that are playing on those multiplayer servers, and basically you would be able to be a part of maybe you don't stream yourself, but you want to be part of this experience. You could be on the multiplayer server and basically be a part of the stream, possibly be a part of 3 or 4 different people's streams, because 3 or 4 people will be streaming at the same time on the same game session. And what that allows you to do is basically watch the session from different points of view. They also have let's fire this up. Come on. There we go. They also have an open multiplayer server that any PCSG member can join and participate in. Since it is open, that means that it's basically on all the time, and you just jump in whenever you want to play and do whatever needs to be done. We do have a thread on the forum that kind of helps you get a gist of what's in progress on that map, what needs to be done, what's just been done. So if you do jump in the multiplayer forum, we ask that our multiplayer server, we ask that you keep that thread up to date as to what you did, what maybe needs to be done next, so the next person that comes on knows what's going on. And the last thing I want to do is suggest you check out the 3 Dudes Gaming Network. I am a 3 Dudes Gaming Media member, as is many of the people linked in my description below. It's another great web community for farm sim enthusiasts. So if you haven't joined or you haven't checked it out, please do so. Currently, 3 Dudes Gaming Network is the exclusive host of Dusty Dave's Pemberton Farm map. So if you would like to obtain Pemberton Farm and give that map a try, you'll need to sign up for a 3 Dudes member account in order to download that. So with that said, guys, I'm just going to do a headland on this side, run up the field on this end of the field, and do a headland on that side, and then just finish this field up off camera. So until next time, guys, happy farming.